What's up guys, it's Dark Armed Olsen, technically doing an Evil Swarm deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck summons out one of the coolest XZ monsters in the entire game, Evil Swarm Ophion. I've also changed up the deck a lot since the last time I profiled it, and I'm really excited to show you guys all those changes. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting your requested deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Evil Swarm Caster. This card is a really good 3 on the deck. It has an awesome effect that during the turn this card is normal summon, you can normal summon an Evil Swarm monster to your side of the field in addition to your normal summoner set, which is a great effect to get you 2 level 4 monsters on the field so you can make your copy of Ophion. We then play 3 copies of Evil Swarm Mandragora. Mandragora is a really good 3 on the deck because it has the ability, if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand, which will give you an additional level 4 on your side of the field in addition to your normal summoner set, which is really awesome. We then play just 2 copies of Evil Swarm Kyrkion because of some of the other tech cards I'm playing in this deck. I have bumped this card down from 3 down to 2. But this card is a really good effect that you can only use each of the effects of Evil Swarm Kyrkion once per turn, that while this card is in the graveyard, if it was sent there this turn, you can normal summon 1 Elsworn monster for 1 less tribute. But the effect that we're going to be using on this card normally is that you can banish an Elsworn monster from your graveyard and then target an Elsworn monster in your graveyard and add that card back to your hand. Also, this card gains the additional ability that you can normal summon 1 more Elsworn monster this turn, which is a great effect to be able to get just an additional monster on your side of the field so you can make your copy of Ophion. We then play 2 copies of Evil Swarm Thunderbird. Thunderbird is a really good 2 of the deck that has a really awesome effect that during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, except during the damage step, you can banish this card that you control, and then during the next damage phase, return this banished card by this effect to the field, and if you do, it gains 300 attack points, which is really good to guarantee that you're going to have a level 4 on the field. We're then playing a single personal tech card in the deck, which we're actually going to play Guess That Card with. So I'm going to lay this card face down and get you guys to guess what this tech card is. It's a really awesome spicy monster card that I'm really excited to show you guys, but we're actually going to reveal this card in 3, 2, 1, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad and comment what you think this card is. So here's what the card is. It's a really cool card. So it's a single copy of Helios, the Primordial Sun. This is a really awesome tech card, especially with Macrocosmos being back at 3 to help you make rank 4 plays in this deck. So this card can be special summoned to your side of the field by activating Macrocosmos, which is a really awesome thing about this deck with your copies of Macrocosmos and D-Fisher. This card is super good as well because this card gains attack equal to the number of banished monsters times 100, so this card can get pretty big on the field as well. This card is primarily used to be able to summon off your copy of Macrocosmos. We then play 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a great normal summon in the deck to work with all of our normal monsters that we're playing in this deck to get us 2 level 4s on our side of the field so we can make a rank 4 monster. We then play 3 copies of Evil Swarm Heliotrope. Heliotrope is a really good 3 in the deck to summon off of cards like Unexpected Die or off your copies of Rescue Rabbit to be able to make a copy of Ophion. We then play 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X. Megalo Smasher X is a really good 2 of in the deck with the copies of Rescue Rabbit to have an additional target in the deck to summon off of Rescue Rabbit or Unexpected Die to give you more normal monsters in the deck. So you can make cards like Evil Swarm Lagia or Evil Tsar Dolka, which is really good in this deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Infestation Pandemic. This card is a really good 2 of in the deck. It has a really awesome effect that all face-up Elsworn monsters that you currently control are unaffected by other spell or trap effects, which is a super good effect, especially since this card is searchable off your copy of Ophion. This card is a definite 2 of in the deck and just a fantastic card overall. We then play 2 copies of Unexpected Die. Unexpected Die is a really good 2 of in the deck because if you control no monsters, you can special summon a level 4 lower normal monster from the deck, like your copy of Megalo Smasher X, or even your copy of Heliotrope to your side of the field. So this card is a definite 2 of in this build. We then play 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is just great in this deck to be able to dig into the deck to get to the exact card that you need when you need it. So this card is a definite 3 of in the build, especially since the extra deck is basically a toolbox for all sorts of different rank 4 plays. We're then playing 3 copies of Dimensional Fissure. Dimensional Fissure is a great 3 of the deck because any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So this card is really good right now, especially with Tearlament running around. So this card is a really great 3 of the deck to be able to basically get rid of cards out of the graveyard and make sure that they're getting banished instead of getting sent to the graveyard. Especially with a deck like this that doesn't really mind their cards getting banished outside of cards like Kyrkion. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Infestation Infection. This card is a really good 1 of the deck, but you only ever need a single copy. This card has the ability that once per turn, you can shuffle an Elsworn monster from your hand or face it from your side of the field into the main deck, and then add an Elsworn monster from your deck to your hand, basically letting you tag them in and out, which is really cool. We then play 2 copies of Mirror Force. Mirror Force is a really cool tech card in this deck because it actually works extremely well with the 1 link monster that we're playing, Steelsworn Origin, which is just really cool to combo with your copy of Mirror Force. This card is also really good to combo with your copy of Dimensional Fissure or your copy of Macrocosmos because instead of the monsters being destroyed and sent to the graveyard, they'll get destroyed and get banished, which is super good. Plus, nowadays, not a lot of people expect Mirror Force, so this card is a really good surprise card against your opponent. We then play 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. Torrential Tribute is a fantastic 3 of the deck. Again, just like Mirror Force, combo with cards like Dimensional Fissure or your copies of Macrocosmos, because the monsters will not only be destroyed on the field, they'll also get banished under those 2 cards, which is super good in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is really good just to stop your opponent's monster effects or summoning monsters, because when a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, you pay 1500 life points to negate the summon or activation if you destroy that card, which is just a really good effect. We then play 3 copies of Macrocosmos. Macrocosmos is really insane that this card is back at 3, along with Dimensional Fissure, but this card is just really good because you can special summon a Helios the Primordial Sun from your hand or deck. And then when this card is on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead, which is just absolutely insane for this deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Evil Swarm Ophion. Evil Swarm Ophion is our boss monster of the deck and is an absolutely insane 3 that takes 2+ level 4 Elsworn monsters to summon this card. And then while this card is Exi material, level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned. And once per turn, you can detach an Exi material from this card to add an Infestation spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect to be able to use to be able to grab cards like your Infestation Quick Play spell or your copy of your Infestation Infection, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Bahamut. Bahamut is basically like Change of Heart, because once per turn you can detach material from this card and then target a face-up monster that your opponent controls, discard an Elsworn monster, and if you do, take control of that opponent's monster, which can come up every so often in this deck. We then play a single copy of Exciton Knight to be able to board wipe the field, and this card is an Evil Sworn monster, so it's really good in this deck, but being able to board wipe the field is just really insane with this card. We then play a single copy of Nightmare. Nightmare is really good in this deck because it's basically a Book of Moon, which is really cool about this card. I love this card as a 1-up in the deck, just to throw it in Defense Solution along with a copy of Ophion to be able to flip an opponent's monster face down to basically essentially turn off their turn, which is really cool. I then play a single copy of Logia. Logia is Walking Solemn Judgment, because when a monster would be normal or special summon or a spell trap card is activated, you can detach 2 materials from this card, negate the summon or activation, and destroy that card, which is super cool. We then play a single copy of Dolka. Dolka is also a really cool card in the deck to be able to make with your copy of Megalo Smasher X. And during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated, you can detach a material from this card and negate the activation to destroy that monster, which is super good to be able to put that card on the field to protect your copies of Ophion. We then play a single copy of Master Key Beetle to be able to protect your copy of Ophion, because once per turn you can detach a material from this card, target one card that you control except this card, and while this card is face up on the field, that card cannot be destroyed by a card effect, and if this face-up card on the field would be destroyed, you can send that card to the graveyard instead, which is pretty cool to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Tornado Dragon to be able to pop spells and traps. Number 60, because this card can make cards absolutely massive, be a walking monster reborn, or let you draw 2 and discard 1. So this card is a really, really good one-of in the extra deck. One copy of Raider's Knight, because you can detach a material from this card, and then summon out your copy of Arc Rebellion, and Arc Rebellion can basically gain the attack points of every single monster on the field, which is crazy powerful, and it can go in for a game, and it just makes it so that this card is the only card that can attack once you activate this effect. It's also a cold wave when you activate the effect, which is really cool to basically turn everything off on the field. So this card is a definite one of in the extra to help you go in for game, especially with the amount of dark monsters we're playing in the deck. We then play a single copy of Zeus because we are playing pretty much a primarily a Z-based deck, so this card is super good to be able to throw on the field in defense position during main 2 and basically board wipe the field as many times as you need to, which is really cool. And then finally, a single copy of Steel Swarm Origin. This card is super good in the deck and a great one-of, the only Link monster that we need, and it just takes 2+ Elsewhere monsters to be able to make this card. And then while this card is in the extra monster zone, if a monster would be special summoned from the extra deck to a main monster zone, it must be summoned in a zone that this card points to, making it so that you and your opponent can only special summon to the zones that it points to from the extra deck, which pretty much locks down your opponent's extra deck, which is super cool. And then while this card points to a monster, neither player can target it with card effects and also cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which is really cool with your cards like your Torrential Tribute. It also has the ability once per turn, when a monster on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon level 4 or lower Elsewhere monsters from your deck in defense position up to the number of monsters destroyed, which comes in really handy with your copies of your Mirror Force and your Torrential Tribute. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play, especially with Macrocosmos and D. Fisher back at 3. That is just really crazy that they're back at 3. And this deck is just super fun to be able to play because you can summon out the really awesome Ophion XZ monster. And I love summoning out that card to the field and locking down the opponent. So anyways, guys, this is Dark Arm Duelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.